What's up, y'all? I just wanted to say real quick, I apologize because this video is a little blurry. I'm still trying to figure out the camera, how to work the settings and all of that. But, trial and error produces growth. I hope it's not too bad. I would listen to it like a podcast style. I hope you enjoy. I would redo it, but it's authentic. The video is what it's supposed to be. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. Peace to you. What's going on, beautiful people? It's a beautiful day, and today is the Master Key System, Part 16. So, if you don't know, my name is SeaJay. This book will help guide us toward new beginnings, new possibilities, opening our mind to new ways of thinking and becoming the person that we may have always wanted to be, the person that we have maybe left behind because of conditioning and programming here in this life. And this will help just get us back, to our true self and figure out what that is by providing tools. Not answering any answers, just providing tools. So, I'm gonna get into the introduction, then I'm gonna get into the actual chapter, and then at the end there is the application, a type of meditation or technique to help get you to where you may want to be. If you haven't watched the rest of them, I would highly suggest you go back to chapter 1 and go through, because this is a book that you kind of do step by step. If you just skip right to 16, you're not gonna really fully understand this material. But without further ado, let's get into it. The vibratory activities of the planetary universe are governed by a law of periodicity. Everything that lives has periods of birth, growth, fruitage, and decline. These periods are governed by the septimal law. The law of sevens governs the days of the week, the phases of the moon, the harmonies of sound, light, heat, electricity, magnetism, and atomic structure. It governs the life of individuals and of nations, and it dominates the activities of the commercial world. Life is growth, and growth is change. Each 7-year period takes us into a new cycle. The first 7 years is the period of infancy. The next 7, the period of childhood, representing the beginning of individual responsibility. The next 7 represents the period of adolescence. The 4th period marks the attainment of full growth. The 5th period is the constructive period, when the men begin to acquire property, possessions, a home, and family. The next, from 35 to 42, is a period of reactions and changes, and this in turn is followed by a period of reconstruction, adjustment, and recuperation, so as to be ready for a new cycle of sevens, beginning with the 15th year. Those familiar with these cycles will not be disturbed when things seem to go wrong, but can apply the principles outlined in these lessons with the full assurance that a higher law will invariably control all other laws, and that through an understanding and conscious operation of spiritual laws, we can convert every seeming difficulty into a blessing. So, I feel as though we can have seasons in our life, and sometimes we try to control these seasons, but it's like trying to control the weather. It'll be ineffective or backfire. So instead, I feel like accepting where you are and seeing the light and growth that's being provided to you at all times will help you develop into the being you're supposed to be. For example, sometimes we're in a period or a season in our life where we should be gaining self-knowledge, but instead we want to go become somebody else's partner and gain all the knowledge about somebody else, so that we miss out on who we could be. We lose ourselves trying to figure out everybody else. Sometimes we may be in a season of our life where we should be developing self-development, but instead we just want things to be comfortable. We want to be We want things to be easy, so we become complacent. We complain, we point the finger, and ultimately, instead of growing, we become less of who we should be because we're resisting. We're resisting the growth. We don't want to see the growth. It's uncomfortable. But instead of working against your destined development process, work with it. Look at everything in life as happening for me instead of to me. Trust the process and know your power. That's what I got from the introduction. We have seasons in our life, and sometimes we want to control those seasons. Sometimes we don't want to lose this job, or we don't want to have to grow into somebody new. But if you just have faith in the universe, if you have faith in your higher powers, in yourself, and the things that are going on in your life, instead of resisting them, you will go along a path that will lead you to unexpected happiness, fulfillment, development, and just a world that you may have never thought was possible for you because you've always closed yourself off in a box or wanted to be comfortable. But growth is uncomfortable, and the unknown has so many different opportunities for us if we just dive into it, not being too afraid, and trust that we will always be guided in the most highest light, directed in the most beneficial direction. If we have that mentality, everything happens in our favor. There is no limit. So I'm going to go over to number 18.
How are we to control thought? What is the process? To think is to create a thought, but the result of the thought will depend upon its form, its quality, and its vitality. The form will depend upon the mental images from which it emanates. This will depend upon the depth of the impression, the predominance of the idea, the clarity of the vision, the boldness of the image. The quality depends upon its substance, and this depends upon the material of which the mind is composed. If this material has been woven from thoughts of vigor, strength, courage, determination, the thought will possess these qualities. And finally, the vitality depends upon the feeling with which the thought is impregnated. If the thought is constructive, it will possess vitality. It will have life. It will grow, develop, expand. It will be creative. It will attract to itself everything necessary for its complete development. If the thought is destructive, it will have within itself the germ of its own dissolution. It will die. But in the process of dying, it will bring sickness, disease, and every other form of discord.
This is a good one. So at this point, if you watched the other videos, you know that your thoughts create your reality. So how can we manage or construct our thoughts so that we're creating a reality that we more so desire? Well, and here, according to this, the effectiveness of our thoughts will depend on how much you believe in your thoughts, how clearly you see your vision and accept it as truth or 100% possible. So try not to have thoughts or try not to manifest something that you don't feel you can manifest. If you have doubt, like I want to manifest $1 trillion by next week, you're just going to set yourself up for failure, and then you're going to doubt yourself even more because now you're like, well, I tried, it doesn't work. So have thoughts that you can more so resonate with and really see yourself, envision yourself doing, having, being. Those will be more effective for you. Also, something that's very important is your purpose for having the thought. For example, if you're trying to have a life where you're wealthy or you have a lot of money and funds, if you are trying to put certain thoughts in your mind or having visions in your mind that lead you to wealth, but your purpose to get to wealth is because you're afraid of not having money, you're going to continue to manifest fear in your life because you're basing your goals and desires off of this fear. You have a foundation of fear, and now you're trying to manifest this wealth. The purpose isn't pure, and it's not going to lead you to the most fulfilling reality or outcome as you could have, or if you are trying to become famous or very popular for very ego-driven reasons, you aren't going to get the results that may benefit you or create the most happiness within you, because your foundation, your purpose of having those thoughts and acquiring those outcomes, it's not pure. It's not something that's very beneficial for life, for the rest of the world. And you are the rest of the world. So your purpose for having certain thoughts and being something in this world should align, or at least benefit in some way, other people, because it's going to come back in some way. That energy is going to come back, and it's going to be something that you may not want in your life. Not to say you're going to have a terrible life, just you probably won't have the best life you can have because of that foundation, your purpose. Something else that's also important is the feelings you have while you are having these thoughts. This will also be something that can be very effective when trying to allow your thoughts to create your reality, or create a reality that you more so desire. Have feelings that you want to feel. For an example, if you are trying to be a very good painter, the next Picasso or something, while you're having thoughts of being this great painter, while you're envisioning you painting and being happy, painting and being successful, while you're having those thoughts, make yourself have feelings. What feelings would you have while you're painting that beautiful artwork? What feelings would you be having while you are offering people your artwork, or while you see other people wanting your artwork? What feelings would you have? What feelings would you have if, let's say, you're trying to be very rich? What feelings would you have when you're rich? How would you feel? Whenever you're envisioning yourself being rich, maybe you see yourself around, acres of land, a bunch of trees and gardens and stuff, or maybe you want a house, a big house, or maybe you want to go to Hawaii, And while you're envisioning those things and having thoughts about those things, have feelings that also align you to that desired outcome, to that vision, because feelings are very powerful here in this reality, just as thoughts are. So that's what I get from 18 through 23. So now I'm gonna go over to 32.
We can only see what already exists in the objective world, but what we visualize already exists in the spiritual world. And this visualization is a substantial token of what will one day appear in the objective world if we are faithful to our ideal. The reason for this is not difficult. Visualization is a form of imagination. This process of thinking forms impressions on the mind, and these impressions in turn form concepts and ideals, and they in turn are the plans from which the master architect will weave the future. Visualization must, of course, be directed by the will. We are to visualize exactly what we want. We must be careful not to let the imagination run riot. Imagination is a good servant, but a poor master. And unless it is controlled, it may easily lead us into all kinds of speculations and conclusions which have no basis or foundation of fact whatever. Every kind of plausible opinion is liable to be accepted without any analytical examination, and the inevitable result is mental chaos.
So this one's good too. All of this is good. It's so refreshing, so expansive. It's just, I just love it. I hope you do too. If you like this so far, give me a big thumbs up. subscribe, I appreciate it. So, what we hold in our mind, we will someday be able to hold it in our hand. If you're consistent, if you're dedicated, if you have a strong belief that what you're holding in your mind is something that you can possibly hold in your hand, if you believe that you can obtain these things. Also, be careful, because you may have thoughts and visualizations, you may watch certain shows and listen to certain music, and you may be creating things in your life that you do not necessarily want. And you may not realize this because you may not know or have an idea of how this concept or how this energy can work. But try it. Try it and see how it works for you. Also, like it says, your imagination is a great tool, but it can also cause a lot of chaos. Use your mind and the visualizations you can have to your advantage, but be consistent with it. Tame your imagination. Don't allow your imagination to go too far out, because then it's just going to be a little turbulent. It's going to be all over the place, and then you have a life that is all over the place. So that's kind of what I get from that. Have a strong faith in what you're believing, or what you're thinking, because you don't want to try to manifest something, but at the end of the day, you really feel like you can't manifest it. Then you're going to be doubtful. Then you're going to take 5 steps back. It's not going to be as productive, as effective, if you don't believe in what you want to achieve. So that's what I get from those. Now I'm going to go into the application.
For your exercise this week, try to bring yourself to a realization of the important fact that harmony and happiness are states of consciousness and do not depend upon the possession of things. That things are effects and come as consequence of correct mental states. So that if we desire material possession of any kind, our chief concern should be to acquire the mental attitude which will bring about the result desired. This mental attitude is brought about by a realization of our spiritual nature and our unity with the universal mind, which is the substance of all things. This realization will bring about everything which is necessary for our complete enjoyment. This is scientific or correct thinking. When we succeed in bringing about the mental attitude, it is comparatively easy to realize our desire as an already accomplished fact. When we can do this, we shall have found the truth which makes us free from every lack or limitation of any kind.
So this is beautiful. I love this. So whenever you step into this mindset of happiness and harmony, not being something physical but mental, a state of consciousness, you start to open up a bunch of doors and a bunch of possibilities. I'll give a couple examples. So let's say I ask you, what will make you happy? What will make you happy? And you say, I want a bunch of money so I can go to Hawaii. Well, what could be effective is if, instead of trying to visualize and obtain a bunch of money in your mind, or you trying to manifest a bunch of money and you're having thoughts of money and visualizing money and so that you can take that trip to Hawaii, instead try to visualize and feel and think about you already being in Hawaii. Have visualizations of you there with your family or whoever you want to bring. You're in the water, you see the mountains, you're having feelings, you're excited. While you're visualizing this, you're excited, you're happy, you can smell the water, you can hear the waves crashing. That is a more effective way to try to manifest or obtain your goals. Here's another one. Let's say I ask you what will make you happy, and you say somebody that will treat me right and make me feel appreciated. So you try to manifest a relationship. You're visualizing this person, you're visualizing yourself in a relationship, you're having thoughts of you being in a relationship. Oh, when is the next person going to come? I have to have him or her. Instead of trying to visualize and manifest in that manner, visualize yourself already being happy. Think about what you want that other person to make you feel, and feel that for yourself. Visualize yourself being happy and bliss and doing the things you want to do, not necessarily having the partner, not necessarily you having the money to go to Hawaii. The how you're going to get to wherever you want to get to is not that important. The how you're going to get to Hawaii is not important. The resources and the people will come. The how you will feel happy and blissful and loved is not that important. Feel happy and blissful and loved. Visualize yourself being happy and blissful and loved. And the resources or the people or the situations that need to happen in order to make you happy and blissful and peaceful will show up. It will show up in divine time, in the time that it needs to. So whenever having a mindset of happiness is a state of consciousness and not a physical thing, try to visualize yourself happy, and whatever that looks like for you, instead of trying to go out in this world and obtain physical things to make you happy. Be happy. Be happy, because happiness is a state of consciousness. Yes, material things can make us happy, but that's just scratching the surface. It's not the foundation of our happiness. So that's what I get from this chapter. Thank you to everybody, especially if you stayed to the end. You're a true one. We resonate, we vibe real closely. You are loved. You are beautiful. You are always, forever, today and tomorrow and the rest, becoming the version of yourself, unfolding into a high, intelligent, successful, peaceful version of yourself. You are worthy. Never doubt yourself. Never let any situation, person, circumstance make you feel lower or less than anyone. You have purpose. No matter what you do, even if the rest of your life you just sit down and you're just a plant, basically, a lamp, you have purpose. I don't care what you have done, I don't care what you will do. In my heart, in my mind, you are purposeful. So go out into this world and show your purpose. Go out into this world and express yourself without any regrets. Go out into this world and be you. We need you to be you. We don't need all these people continuously trying to be other people. We need people who are genuine and an individual, and not afraid to be an individual. Okay, we need this energy. So much love to you. I hope you enjoyed this video. There will be more. Every week there's a new video. Subscribe, like. Many, many blessings to you all. May you all have a beautiful rest of your week. And I will see you in the next video.